Hello and welcome to episode number 1 of EmpressAir Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 general notes. So today we'll be just doing a general look at the graphics and some of the basic maneuvers with the A320neo, which is short for new engine option. Quite a few airlines have ordered this. The engines are a lot larger than on the regular traditional Airbus 320. But most people who are buying this simulation for the first time have played this before. But there are some quirks that make it a lot different from Flight Simulator X10. And today I will go over a couple of those. By no means in depth, but still some interesting notes that I have from the first day of use. So as you can see, we just finished going through the world screen where you can rotate the world and zoom in and pick departure airports and arrival airports. You can even choose the runways and the gates. As to the accuracy of the gates in the game, we'll have to get back to you on that. I think the gates out of Vancouver are a little bit out of sorts, but considering how great this sim is out of the box, I'm sure it will get fixed at some point. But anyways, this is where we pick up the game, picking the different airplanes that you can have in the simulation, and the only thing you're used to this by now if you're a regular flight simmer, is the load time for this game. But there is so much data being drawn. You can do live air traffic, you can do live simulation air traffic control. You can do all these things that you did in the previous flight simulator, but this enables us to go over some of the finer points of the game. You will be asked to sign into Xbox Live, so if you already have one of these accounts, then no problem, you just sign in and away you go. I am using Steam for my simulation, and today we are just going to do fly out of YVR on runway 26L, and the graphics for the start screen when you're ready to fly, as you can see, is really good. So they pretty much got the A320 Airbus Neo bang on for right out of the box. So here we are in the flight deck, and I am still working on navigating the flight deck, so I've decided to use this feature that I didn't use as much in the last flight simulator, and just fly the airplane from the outside. And they've made this really easy for newcomers, and it makes it a really pleasurable experience. So there's a lot of text on the middle where it tells you can control the throttle, and it tells you different steps. And the screen at the top with the arrow, that's a pull down screen, and you can access all your settings from there, and different views and that sort of thing. So it took me 5 minutes to get the parking brake off, and I remembered from my past flight simulators where this was, so I was able to go into the screen and remove it, or not remove it, turn it off. So the reset position is really good because you reset and then you do the external, and from here this is a lot of fun because you get to see the scenery, the plane operates great, and you can navigate that way. You can navigate by visual flight rules. You also got the air traffic control that goes along with it, and you can use this if you like. But I recommend at the start not to use the air traffic control. And really, I recommend doing the flight tutorials, which I will be doing myself over the next coming days. But I just wanted to see today if I could use the skills I had in the previous flight simulator to use in this simulation today. So this is partly what we're doing. This is probably where I was trying to figure out, make sure everything's good to go and increase the throttle on the Logitech joystick. I use an Extreme 3D Pro joystick for my flight simulator, and it's working excellent with this game. So here we're getting up to speed. I like to rotate around 130 knots, somewhere in there, but I will refine my flying skills as we go along here. So another thing I noticed is the points of interest along the flight sim. So when you're flying along, it'll tell you airports, cities, and even some tourist sites. The simulator is very smooth. The graphics rate is really good. Most people have new computers with good video cards, and if you have Steam, you probably have a good video card. So here we're taking off from runway 26 left, just generally up. Landing gear is the G button. And then I'm going to do right turn, right bank. You can see the end of the butte there. It's really good there. It's a really nice day in Vancouver today. So the flaps buttons, there's the general settings for the flaps and what you use on your joystick, but you can change these in the settings. I'm definitely going to mark down all the buttons and make a list so that when I'm playing I don't have to change the settings. See up here you got the camera views, so I'm going to change the camera view. Chime in. So as I said before, if you don't like the air traffic control and you're just flying around to view the scenery, make sure you turn off the air traffic control settings up top.
Airbus 320, acknowledge last transmission.
So when you're viewing cities, like we're going to go over Vancouver here now, we're going to go from west to east, and you want to go at a little bit of a slower speed. You can do put the airlines up, the speed brake, and that depends on my joystick. I have a certain button for that, and for the first few days I'll be using that to slow down a little bit. You could lower the flaps. There are 4 flaps setting buttons. From F5 to F8, both full retract and full extend, and then there's incremental extends. And you just have to get used to the whatever your joystick or your keyboard or your mouse, or even you can even use the Xbox controller if it's hooked up properly to your computer. And I think this is what's going to be great about the Xbox making this game, is that a lot of it is going to be compatible with your Xbox profile, and maybe even someday we'll be able to play on the Xbox One or the new Xbox that's apparently coming out later in the fall. So here we are over Vancouver now. We just left the area over UBC, and we're going directly over Broadway, I believe. So on the left, just under the wing, you can see downtown Vancouver. And this setting that I have it on is the next up from the lower setting. So it's about medium, a medium setting, when above a light. So the graphics are phenomenal, and I think if I even turned it up one, it would probably run really well as well. So you can see BC Place just in the bottom left of the corner. And there's the rail yards down there on the left. And Richmond would be way on the right and the North Shore on the left. That's Howe Sound coming up on the left-hand side. So it's about here that I'll start thinking about making a right-hand turn. Now I had a map. There's a map on here, and it gives you some roads or directions. I'm still figuring out what the VFR map is. But then I make the turns, and the flight simulator basically helps you along as well. And as you can, when you're first playing, you'll get a lot of overspeed warnings, and once you figure out the overspeed warnings, you're probably figuring out how to fly the aircraft. So now we must be getting close. We must be over Burnaby here, heading towards New West and Port Coquitlam. Okay, here we are making the right-hand turn. Just a little under 5,000 feet here. And you can see there is Annacis Island, or that's actually somewhere else. But that is Richmond though, right there with the fields there, the farming fields. And that's when you pretty much know you got to make the right bank. Now, once you learn to fly IFR in this Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, you'll line up the ILS and the localizer and all those fun things. But I'm thinking everybody for the first week is just trying to figure out how to use the flight simulator, as it is so new. It's been quite a while since Microsoft produced a new flight simulator from scratch. So you can see the runway. There would be 26R, so I'm going to try to line up for 26R, and we're going to see if we can make our first landing. So you see the altitude is dropping quite a bit here. We're at about 3,000 feet. I'm not sure how accurate I am. I'm definitely not lined up. We got the landing gear down, and now you can see how far the airport is away, but to me this is irrelevant, as if you're a more experienced flyer, you're going to be going by visual.
2,500.
And if you're a new flyer, this is kind of a good thing too, because then you can gauge how far you are, what altitude you should be at. And so now I got the flaps lowered as well, so the plane is at a good stable 162 knots, and we're almost lined up with the runway. And from previous versions of the A320 in Flight Simulator, usually you're flying in at about 120, 130 knots, 135. I'm a little fast at 20. I may even be a little bit low here. We're coming in over the Richmond and bridges leading to the airport. And you can see the outlet mall near the Vancouver airport, just in front of the left, the number 1 engine. They're apparently expanding that. There's some of the parking lots. So here's what would have been the new runway. Some 10 plus years ago, and now it's used quite regularly, and they even use it for takeoffs, but it's mainly a landing runway. So I feel like I got a good landing speed here. We've got it down to about 120, and we are excuse me, we're going back up and down, and this is something new with Microsoft Flight Simulator. I think probably pretty realistic that the computer on the plane thought that I was too low, so it decided to speed up and do a go around. So now the plane's at about 170, and I'm just going to pull up the landing gear and give this a go, another go. But I'm going to leave it at that for you guys. Anyways, pardon the scratchiness today, but this is a good first look at the Airbus 320neo and how the scenery looks pretty great for Vancouver. So anyways, hope you guys enjoy this. Please like and subscribe if you would like to see more videos like this.